So your first acting credit on your IMDb page, I believe, was for Flashfire.
Yes.
That's with Billy Zane and Lou Gossett Jr. and Kristen Minter. What was that like, that first day on set? Can you take us to that time? Was that your first real huge set that you'd ever been on?
No, because I had already done commercials by that time. It was my first actual acting gig. I mean, commercials are you're still acting, but it wasn't like a narrative, where you had to just sort of smile and look pretty and pitch the product. This was an actual scene that I had, and I was being directed, and it was fun. I remember going into the audition and really committing to the role, and I mean, it was like one line, but it was like committed, dressed like it, and the director said, "Wow, you're really committed," and so that got me the part. But I think we all do that who really want a career in this business. So it was exciting. It was exciting, but I had already been on set, so it wasn't like, oh, this is new. Except the PSA when we all got there, because most of the actors who were in this PSA were very new. I think it was like all of our first gig. And we were all sort of standing around the craft service table where all the food is, just standing there. We were so hungry, but no one would touch it because we didn't know what the protocol was. We didn't know that food was there for us. So we all just stood and we're like, wow, that food looks really good. But none of us would touch it until the PA walked by and they're like, if you guys are hungry, we dove into that table. So that experience was much more memorable because it was my first time. But by the time I did Flashfire, I had been on sets a couple times. But working with a director in a narrative form was different because he was sort of, a director in a commercial is different than a director on television and film. So that experience was different and fun.
How was it in the beginning working with big name talent? I was just listening to a radio program with Danny McBride the other day. He was just talking about coming to this town from Virginia and being this young kid and like, oh my gosh, there's George Clooney and I've got to remember my lines and I've got to stay composed. So do you remember, going to those first initial jobs where you were, there's a Lou Gossett Jr. on the set and you're keeping your composure, trying to remember that one line or whatever it was?
I think before I started acting in bigger projects with name actors, I had a friend who would crash Hollywood parties, and he would take me along. I mean, I don't know how he did it. He would just get into any party, anytime. So during that experience, I met so many celebrities. So I think I got the whole, wow, there's Bruce Willis. I think we crashed the last Boy Scout premiere party, the American Music Awards. I met Mariah Carey and, all these, Marky Mark at the time. And so I had gotten it out of my system. By the time I was working as an actor, I was more focused on the professional aspect of it, and I just wanted to do what was right for the character. But there have been moments where you are on set, you sit back, and you're like, oh my God, these are all like really famous people. 12 Angry Men was that wow moment because I was in the presence of William Friedkin, who I had been a huge fan of, still am. But you're so nervous and focused on like just doing the work that you don't think about anything else. But there was a moment where I was on set and he came up to me and he gave me some notes, some direction, and then he walked away and I was like, wait a minute, I just was directed by William Friedkin. Oh my God, get into character. So there was those moments, and there was Edward James Olmos, who I'd known growing up, and Jack Lemmon and George C. Scott. So all these actors who were just sitting across from me, 12 of them, really well-known actors. And there was that wow moment, like, this is cool.
What would you advise to other actors starting out who are maybe not from LA? Because it sounds like you were exposed to all of that earlier on. Maybe they're from some smaller town where you don't see these people at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And how do they get over that initial starstruck? Because I think there's an initial period for people that come here where your jaw drops and you can't believe you just saw, somebody walk by.
It's different because I grew up here. This is my hometown, Los Angeles. So they were always filming outside my house. I think it was, what's his name from Jaws? Roy from Jaws.
Yes, Roy.
He was outside my house because they were filming in front of my house. So I got to meet him. And one of Prince's girls at the time, what was her name? Apollonia, yes. She was outside. So being a, Angelino, I was exposed to a lot of that as a kid. And my good friend Sandra worked at a video store, and she had called my brother and said, Arnold Schwarzenegger is at the video store. So my brother's like, let's go. And he got us in the car and drove to the video store. And we got there, and Arnold was there, but it wasn't really Arnold. She had because she works at a video store, she had the promotional big life-size Arnold Schwarzenegger. So as a kid, we were always, and like Damon Wayans would come regularly to that video store, and that was during In Living Color. So as a kid, I was very much exposed to that. Anyone outside of that, and I have many friends who do, I have a lot of people who come and visit me from all over the world, and they do get starstruck. I think it's wonderful. I think it's, because I think when we go outside of our home base, we probably look starstruck when we see like the Eiffel Tower, and the French are probably like, whatever. We're like, look at it, it's so beautiful. Paris is beautiful. So I think there is that moment, and that's how I can relate to their experience, is when I'm somewhere else and I see someone. But yes, there are a lot of actors who I respect and admire and hope to achieve some of the success that they've had, or at least the respectability that they've achieved. Gary Oldman's an actor who I admire. And so seeing an actor like that would probably give me that kind of like, wow, my jaw just dropped.